You know, the last 9 months we saw from London only messages what they don't like, what Great Britain don't like, what they don't want to have. Hopefully tomorrow we will have more understanding about what they like, what they want, about the idea about the future of the relationship. We respect again the majority of the British voters with the idea to leave the European Union, but it's allowed to underline again that from our point of view it's an historic mistake to do this whole exercise. In the year 2060 only 4% of the global population will be still Europeans. There will be not anymore a big country in Europe, even not France and Germany will be big countries anymore. And that's why the general idea to stay together, to work together, to defend our European way of life together is still in the center of the debate. Concretely speaking now on the procedure, we expect that we do a clear split between, in the first phase, about the divorce. So to think about how we can do the split if Great Britain wants to do so. And in the second step, the new relationships. This is, from our point of view, a two-step approach. Otherwise, we would mix up everything, and that would even complicate all the procedures. And we ask the British side to do a fair behavior during the negotiations. All the messages we received, for example, on a kind of a tax haven, on a Singapore next to the European Union, or on social dumping, are not creating an atmosphere of fairness and an atmosphere of trustful partnership in such negotiations. So we are asking them to behave in this fair manner. And the second point is about the top priorities on the negotiations. We put, from an EPP point of view, three main ideas on the table, main topics on the table. The first is about the citizenship. So the people who are concerned about the freedom of movement question are concerned. And it is in both sides' interest to immediately clarify this point. I hope that Theresa May can give a clear signal that she don't want to accept any more uncertainty for the 4.4 million citizens, EU citizens in Great Britain or British citizens in the EU, to clarify the legal status immediately. It's in the interest of a lot of people to clarify this, and it would also be a very positive signal if we could do so. The second point is about the costs of the whole exercise. There are figures on the table. We don't want to speculate, but the cost question and the bill has to be clarified if we want to have a positive progress. One message is clear: when you see the figures we are talking about, then one proof is already on the table, that the promises of the Brexit campaigners last year, that this will be very positive for the budget of Great Britain to leave the European Union, are still alive. So they were not really correct. So it will be very costly for the British partner. The third point is a special situation in Northern Ireland. We regret that there is again the need to talk about the Good Friday Agreement, about the peace process, where we achieved so much during the last 2 decades. Now the debate about peace is back. That is what we regret, but it's back. That's why we have to find a solution where we can avoid a kind of a border on the island of Ireland. That is what we want to achieve. And these are the 3 points which we want as a first and starting point to put on the table. You feel that this is also in line with what our top negotiator, Michel Barnier, has in mind. The EPP group is strongly supporting his approach. And 2 final points is that everybody must know the European Parliament is a parliament of consent. And the biggest group in the European Parliament will have in mind during the next years only the interest of the 440 million EU citizens, and not anymore the interests of the British people. Or let me say it more let me say in a picture, we will have not the interest of the City of London in mind, we will have the interest of our business and of our community in mind. And finally, cherry picking is over. The Brits had already a very positive situation. They enjoyed rebate for their expenditures, for their money, which they had to contribute to the EU budget. We offer the golden bridge to David Cameron about child benefits and a lot of other things. So we did whatever we can do to help the Brits to stay. They decided against this idea, and that means cherry picking is over. So it will be a tough debate. We want to have a fair debate, but also a tough debate. And we are looking forward for a hopefully positive outcome in a kind of a mission impossible which is ahead of us. The question is really in the ongoing discussions, in the starting discussions now, what means leaving the European Union? That is a fundamental question. And the European Union is about, first of all, technically speaking, legally speaking, about thousands of regulations we did during the last decades. And all of them had an idea to do the living conditions, to create better living conditions for our citizens on this continent, to overcome borders, which previous generations always faced. And to overcome, let me say, this was positive for all of us. When somebody now wants to leave the European Union, it means practically to build up again walls and borders. And I can also underline that a lot of British citizens will face this problem with limiting their freedom in their daily life when it comes to the Brexit. I regret this very much. I don't like it, but that is the outcome of the Brexit referendum, and there everybody has to face a reality.